Hey there, Belial Brahmas. It's Miss Dulock. We're going to take a look today at doing math problems, but only focusing on how we get the answer, not actually getting a number answer. So before we kick off and really look at the math, we're going to ask ourselves a couple questions. So the first question I have for you is, how would you make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? Is there a certain set of steps that you have to follow to be successful in making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? I would think so. You have to put the peanut butter and the jelly on the inside of the bread, because if you put it on the outside, it wouldn't be a sandwich. Some people are particular about peanut butter up against the bread versus the jelly. Some people prefer a horizontal cut versus a diagonal cut in their bread. But there's a different way to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and however you feel most comfortable with making one, order is important to you. Another thing to look at is getting ready for school. Every morning you have a certain routine that you follow. Your alarm goes off at a certain time. You get your breakfast, you start to get ready for school. But most importantly, as you get ready for school and you get dressed for the day, how you put your clothes on is important. You don't put your undergarments on top of your jeans and your top. You don't wear your socks on the outside of your shoes. There's an order that you follow for getting ready for school. So let's say you're going to plan a surprise party for your math teacher. The first thing you got to do is look at how much money you have. Once you then know how much money you have, you might think about how many people you're going to invite. So there's a process that you have to think through in planning a party. You don't just say, I'm going to plan a party and go buy a cake. There's usually a thought process involved in it. All three of these things are just examples of how order is important. A peanut butter and jelly sandwich, getting dressed for school, or planning a surprise party. Order was important in all of those. How you went about doing all three of those examples. So the first example that we're going to look at, that's a mathematical example. Visually, when you look at it, it's kind of overwhelming. There's a lot of words. I would probably guess that you're thinking this is hard. A lot of words on the screen. These problems are a piece of cake. No math involved. You just got to tell me, if you were actually going to solve it, what steps you would take to actually get to the answer. So let's go ahead and read the main part of the problem, which is up here in the top left-hand corner. 3 6th grade classes at Central Middle School have 24 students each. The other 2 6th grade classes have 20 students each. All the students in these classes are taking a field trip to the Science Museum. At the museum, they will be placed in 8 equal tour groups. Read the problem-solving steps below. And then it lists step K, step L, step M, and step N. I'm going to jump over here to the question. The question says, which list shows the steps in the correct order to find the number of students in each tour group? And then it lists our 4 different options. So we're going to have to figure out which is first, which is second, which is third, and which is fourth. What I do want to do with you is let's pull out some of the important information from the word problem. So I'm going to find my highlighter. And the first thing I see that's important is it says that there are 3 6th grade classes that have 24 students each. Then I see that there are 2 classes that have 20 students each. And then it goes on to say that they're all taking a field trip to the Science Museum, and they're going to have 8 equal tour groups. So what I've actually done to make sense of this is I kind of rewrote it for myself. There's 3 classes, 24 kids each. 2 classes, 20 students each. I have 8 equal groups, and the whole point of this problem is I got to figure out the number of students in each group. So if you were actually to solve this, what would be the first thing that you need to find out? The very, very first thing. Right, you're going to want to figure out, well, how many total people are there? So the first thing you're going to want to say is 3 times 24, and you get an answer, and 2 times 20, and get an answer. Then what would you do? You'd add them together, right. So then I would add. So what I'm thinking that you're saying, if I can get my computer to work, what I'm hearing you say is that once you multiply, I would then add my answers together. Okay, so once you multiply and you add my answers together, then you're going to have your total number of students. If we go back to the problem, we're going to be making 8 equal tour groups. So that means, right, you need to divide. So once you multiply, divide by the number of groups. Look good? Thinking it looks good. So let's see if we can make sense of this back over with our original problem. So what I've done is I've kind of taken what we did as far as work, and I'm going to bring it in to the problem so we can check it out. And I moved the wrong one, so bear with me. Alrighty, here we go. So let's move this all around. Here is our problem. And this down here is what we made sense of it. So we said the first thing we're going to do is we're going to multiply. So if we look over at our steps, which 2 items do you see that say multiply? Right, step L and step N. So if we check that out, step L says multiply, step N says multiply. If we read what this says, it says step L, multiply the number of students in the larger classes by the number of larger classes. Okay, that makes sense. Step N says multiply the number of students in the smaller classes by the number of smaller classes. We say order is important. Does it really matter which one of those that we do first, L or N? No, it doesn't. It does not matter which ones we do first. So let's check out our answer choices. I do not have N as an option, but I do have L as an option. So I'm thinking right now that we can get rid of some answer choices. So I'm going to just draw a red line through F and G. So I'm left with H and J. We've got L as the first choice, followed by N. So we're on the right track. Let's head back down to what we talked about. We said that once we multiply, we were then going to add our answers together. We have step K and step M. Check out step K. You see that keyword add? We add the number of students in both of the class sizes. That matches, kind of what we talked about. So if I look back up at my answer choices, I'm thinking that we can eliminate one of them. We know it's L and then N, and then the add is step K. And so if I look, H is going to be my answer. I can get rid of, what was that, J? I can get rid of J, making my answer H. So as you can tell, we didn't really solve a math problem, like we didn't add, subtract, multiply, or divide, but we thought through all of those things. This is one of those problems that's easy if you take the time to sort through everything that you need to know. An example. We still know that order is important. We still have to solve this problem in a certain order. But if we kind of glance at it, you immediately see that the answer choices look different than the first one. let's go ahead and check out what this problem's all about. Starting over here in the top left-hand corner. The table below shows a customer's purchases at Sam's Sports Shop. What steps will give a correct total for the purchases? Looking at the table, these are the purchases from Sam's Sports Shop. We have the items listed here, a mug and a t-shirt. How many of them? Quantity. We have 2 mugs, 3 t-shirts. Unit cost is how much one costs. So a mug costs $6, a t-shirt costs $14. So let's go ahead and make sense of this. If we were going to have to actually solve this problem is asking, what is the total? So if you actually had to figure out the total, what would be the first thing that you would attack in that table? Wouldn't you want to know how much 2 mugs cost? I think so. 2 mugs cost. How would we do that? We could say 2 times 6. Or we could say 6 plus 6. But as 7th graders, we're going to just say 2 times 6. Again, how much that's worth really isn't important. The next thing you're going to want to know is how much 3 t-shirts cost. So to figure that out, we would take the amount we have and multiply it times the cost. Then to figure out the total, what would I do with those 2 numbers? Right, I would add. Another word for add is to find the sum, not Sam, sum. So that might be a word that we actually see over here in our answer choices. So if you kind of see what I did, I've read the problem, I kind of made some notes, and now I'm actually going to look at the answer choices. Letter A says, find the cost of 1 mug and 1 t-shirt. Add the cost of 1 mug to the cost of 1 t-shirt. What's wrong with that answer choice? The part that's wrong is it's talking about the cost of 1 mug and the cost of 1 t-shirt. Over in the problem, it's wanting us to come up with a total. And we're buying 2 and 3 t-shirts. So I think it's fair to say that this answer choice doesn't make much sense. Okay, let's look at answer choice B. Find the cost of 1 mug and 1 t-shirt and subtract it from the cost of 1 mug from the cost of 1 t-shirt. Again, find the cost of 1 mug and 1 t-shirt. We already know that the unit cost for 1 is $6. That one's not going to work either. So let's go ahead and get rid of that one. Okay, let's look at answer choice C. Find the cost of 1 mug and 1 t-shirt. Okay, that's in the table. Multiply the cost of 1 mug by 2. Okay, we have that down here. Let me turn my highlighter on. 1 mug times 2, we have that. Multiply the cost of 1 t-shirt by 3. 1 t-shirt's $14 times 3 of them. Then add the products. Okay, we added. What does products mean? Products is the answer to a multiplication problem. This one might work. So we are going to put a M by it for maybe. Let's look at answer choice D. Answer choice D. Find the cost of 1 mug and 1 t-shirt. Add the cost of 1 mug to the cost of 1 t-shirt. Multiply the sum by 3. That one's not making too much sense because it's multiply the sum by 3. That doesn't make much sense because I have a total of 5 items. and they cost two different amounts. So that one's not going to work either. So it looks like for this one, our answer is C. Something to think about is order is important. On this one, we didn't have to exactly say step 1, step 2, step 3, but we really had to look at what did we do first over here in our notes section. What did we do second? What did we do third? Something to remember is that order is important whether or not you're doing PEMDAS, following order of operations, or whether you're having to make sense of a word problem.